Pearson Ravitz' story begins with Dr. Stephanie Pearson, a passionate OB-GYN at the height of her career. But when a shoulder injury struck during a precipitous delivery, her dreams were shattered, leaving her unable to practice medicine. Determined to make a difference, Stephanie became an advocate for her peers, guiding them through the complex disability process. Alongside insurance expert Scott Ravitz, Stephanie founded Pearson Ravitz, a company determined to approach insurance differently. Together, they set their mission to educate and empower physicians to protect their most valuable asset, their income, and the most important people in their life, their family. Today, Pearson Ravitz serves the medical community in all 50 states. At Pearson Ravitz, they understand the unique concerns of physicians. Physician-founded and physician-focused, Pearson Ravitz builds human connections before they create quotes. Life can change in an instant. It's hard to imagine that a sudden illness or injury could leave you and your family in a devastating financial situation. But with a little planning and guidance, you can prepare for every possibility. Visit PearsonRavitz.com today to schedule your consultation with the Pearson Ravitz advisor.
Finally, a source of raw, real, and honest information on healthcare issues that matter most. Welcome to BS Free MD. From the latest medical information to how to stay sane as a doctor or a patient, no subject is taboo, no BS is allowed. Now, let's welcome your hosts, Doctors May and Tim Hindmarsh.
Welcome to the show. Thanks for joining us. And if you're listening to the replay, you've joined Doctales with Cocktails with your hosts, Tim and May Hindmarsh, the hosts of BS Free MD, and do a little Wednesday night fun time.
Yes, to get you over the hump of hump day. So hopefully your hump day is filled with humping.
And speaking of hump day, before we get into our fun topics of the night, and I think we got some funny news stories, and mine are not all funny because I'm such a serious, boring person, but I have to balance out this guy. Anyway, we hope you had a happy Halloween yesterday. I thought it was so bizarre. Okay, I didn't get to take. I got so excited. We recorded a couple podcasts yesterday afternoon, right up until, what do you call it? Haunting time. Literally at 5:30, we finished recording, and the kiddos started down the street, and I wanted to get out and see them. So we opened the door to check out the activities. And of course, it was a neighborhood block party at the neighbors across the street. And so I just grabbed the candy bowl. Tim didn't even have the shoes on. He saw the party and went running so fast. And we joined them and had a blast. And I forgot to take my phone. I needed to take pictures. But it was...
and then golf carts filled with children and dogs in costumes.
It was spectacular.
It was amazing.
But
it was warm.
It was warm. What was it? It was 80.
Yeah, I don't know. It got to like 78, and then we went inside because it was way too cold.
No, because the mosquitoes came
There
out.
was mosquitoes, yes.
So
yes.
I'm going to say that you are all right, that there is a season of bugs. I just didn't notice it because we're usually in our cage, as I describe it. I feel like I'm the animal in the zoo, and the insects and the animals are looking at us. So...
All right, let's get to the first
you just
story.
Right into stories already.
Yes, absolutely. MRI traps nurse in freak accident. Okay, so this happened in like someplace in California, and it was really it happened in February of this year, and they just finished the investigation. And I'm like, it takes you 7 months to figure out, or 7 months, no, 10 months almost, to figure out that you shouldn't have a gigantic metal gurney in an MRI room. It was wild to read the article. They had like 4 or 5 things that all failed. The alarm when you open the door didn't work because they hadn't tested it and they didn't log in. Somehow the people like that had access to the MRI didn't have, training or whatever. but
didn't have training.
that they had to, do.
Whoa! Who's
Yes.
running this?
No,
The people that are in the movie
Who
House.
is running this? Kaiser Permanente, one of the biggest for-profit health entities in the entire world. No, it
sounds like on the House and a couple other those medical shows where the people do it all, like they run the MRI machine, they go to the lab.
She had to
It would
get.
be a doctor that didn't know.
She had to get surgery, and they had to pull out embedded screws.
With the MRI machine?
No, it was
Okay,
wild.
Explain. So she goes, what like
So she was
they put her in a metal gurney?
So
in
she
an
had
MRI
a bed.
machine?
She wheels this bed into the MRI room, and the patient falls off the bed, and she goes to help the patient, and the bed starts moving, and like she got the patient out of the way or something, and then she's just like completely pinned against this thing, and it's literally crushing her to death. So they saved her life, and they did surgery on her. Now I want to show you. I have a video.
Now you're gonna freak everybody out that has to have an MRI.
I have.
Even
Well,
more.
no, it's why they have a metal detector. Well, et cetera, et cetera. Okay, so check this video out.
Baby, there we go.
So,
okay, now look at it, 1,700. We are at 1,700,
so
which is.
I gotta pause this.
Wait, you can't talk while the video's on.
I know, so I gotta pause this. So they have an office desk chair attached to one of those things you'd weigh your ridiculously heavy luggage on. That goes to 2,000 pounds. Okay, so it's a little.
That's the one I need for my luggage.
That's you do, and so it's this 2,000-pound scale, and then they have all these tie downs that you would use to tie down a car to a trailer. All right.
Okay, I'm thinking it's like a beef hook.
Yeah, and all they have is a desk chair.
All right.
And they're putting the desk chair, like they turn the MRI on, and they have the chair there, and then they're okay. So continue watching.
Far more than this thing.
You just relaxing it now?
Yeah.
Okay, so there it goes. Oh.
Now it's up to
1,800.
1,800.
It's past 2,000.
Okay, so I'll explain for people that are listening. The desk chair started to break apart and was threatening to break their car-sized tie-down straps because the desk chair was exerting 2,000 pounds of force. And all it was
the
a
MRI machine.
Right. Like this wasn't like a gigantic piece of lead. This was just a desk chair next to an MRI. And it was 2,000 pounds of force.
That's how I feel after Halloween eating all that candy.
Yes. No, I agree. I completely agree.
Well, that's a bunch of silliness.
No, so like I saw another one and they had a wrench, like a regular, like a 9/16 wrench, right? Like what does that weigh? Ounces.
Mm-hmm.
And they attached all these stuff, and they got like 600 or 700 pounds of force.
So
of the magnet, and then finally the magnet just like stuck. I mean, it was unbelievable.
Maybe we need to get our engineering son in here to explain how it generates that amount of force. How the gravitational pull on that object can be so high.
Well, it's not gravitational; it's magnetism. It's completely
that's
different.
That's what I.
No, but that's why.
Say.
That's
the
why.
Magnetic pull.
Okay, if you really want your mind blown about magnetism,
how can that magnetic pull be that high?
No, of course it can, because you look up rail guns. So if you look at a regular gun that shoots a bullet or a big artillery shell, if you're a Navy vessel like a battleship, you explode a charge in a barrel, and then it thrusts the projectile out the barrel, right? Well, they have rail guns, and the rail guns are all magnetically discharging at different rates to shoot the projectile with magnetism. And they're way, way more powerful than explosions.
All we want to know is what happened to the lady that got.
I told you
the
she had to
nurse.
go for surgery and have like screws pulled out of her that were like dislodged in her body from the magnet.
Oh, I thought she was going. Wait, you didn't explain well enough. I thought she was going to go to surgery, and that's why
No,
she
it was the
getting
nurse.
MRI ahead.
The nurse wheeled this person in. The lady fell off the gurney, and then the gurney starts moving, and the nurse is trying to like fend herself off, and she gets pinned to the machine.
So the nurse had to go for surgery?
Yes, the nurse
patient?
had to go for surgery.
And what about the patient?
I have no idea. No one cares about the patient. It's American healthcare.
Stop. We want to know what happened. Okay. All right. What else you got?
Well, let's see. Okay, we did the nurse story. Let's go to the next one. Okay, well, we did that. Oh, yes, this is yours.
Oh, this isn't funny. This is like, I was going to skip it because it's so depressing if we didn't have time. Okay, so yes, apparently the death rate for infants in America, for babies, has reached an all-time high. Actually, in 2022, it increased. Let me find it here. You caught me off guard.
It increased by 3%, though.
Yeah.
So I don't know what that means.
I'm trying to find my article. Basically, what they found was that there's a few states, 4 of them in particular. I'm trying to remember. It was like Tennessee, Alabama, Georgia, where those states had significantly increased infant mortality. And it was in infants born at 37 weeks or younger, particularly, actually, I think it was mostly white males. It wasn't females.
Well, we've been getting screwed for quite a while. So, yes.
Earlier than that.
Makes sense.
There was a little bit of some maternal fetal complications, but not all. And there's a huge surge in meningitis in some of those states as well, in those young infants born before 37 weeks. And then there was also a massive surge in RSV in 2022. And so
that makes perfect sense.
They're still not sure exactly what it is, but there is definitely a blip for the first time in 21 years in the infant mortality rate. So they're kind of taking a look.
I don't think this means much.
No, I didn't.
And
either.
The reason I don't think it means much,
that's why I was going to kind of bypass it for now.
This has been all over our COVID news, people, and of course, it's like any movement, it succumbs to what I call the weed phenomenon, which is weed cures cancer, weed cures PTSD. Weed makes you happy. If you're too happy, it makes you sad. And so, yes, I think the things that they introduced in 2001 that you stick in your arm and inject you with are a real problem that have real dangers.
There was no alluding to the fact that it was from vaccinated mothers or anything like that.
But none of the popular media or the FDA is ever going to go there.
Yeah. The
problem is we live in a world now where the powers that be will see massive spikes in all-cause mortality. That is real. The insurance industry is literally pooping their diapers about increased disability claims and increasing life insurance claims. That's a real thing, okay? And we very soon, hopefully, will be talking to one of the world experts on that. And he will explain it way better than we can. Right. That is a real problem. And so we have a problem. We have people in the medical freedom world, which we consider we're in, and it's like it's starting to become where almost everything is the vaccine, right? It's just like it's kind of like the exact opposite of what happened in COVID, where somebody would have COVID and be killed in a motorcycle accident, but because they actually tested positive for COVID, they died of COVID. Well, now I think at times you get the exact opposite. You get, well, this guy died suddenly. And so every single person that dies suddenly or every single change in mortality is 100% based on the vaccine. Well, that's clearly...
There was nothing like that in this article. Actually,
no, but the article will never say that because they're bought and paid for. That's the problem. So you have...
I thought you meant that everybody else was saying everything.
No. Everyone on kind of in our tribe is saying it. And I'm like, whoa, you got to call bullshit Like, you don't know.
Here's
That's the problem.
only thing that would make one think that. I found this article.
They'll never mention it. The
Was-
FDA came out.
Was that, wait, let me finish. It says the CDC's report published noted larger increases, for two of the leading causes of infant deaths. One was maternal complications,
Yep, that's a big problem.
and second was the bacterial meningitis. So that makes you go, maternal complications. Why did they go up suddenly?
Right, but you can blame lockdowns.
That's all I'm saying.
As easily as you can blame anything else, because lockdowns screwed people's immunity as well. Okay, so you weren't getting exposed to regular viruses and infections. So then your immune system kind of took a crap. And then you have a premature baby because you got vaccinated, and that's been shown to increase risk of, like, there's so many factors that to get a real answer is very difficult and takes real science, which we won't have because we don't have real science. Plus, it's 3%. It's not 35%. So it may be completely meaningless.
No, it wasn't 3%. It was a point. The national rate rose to 5.6 infant deaths per 1,000 live births.
Yeah, that's a lot.
In 2022, up from 5.44 per thousand.
No, I mean,
the year before.
It may be complete.
That's statistically significant, though.
Well, yeah, but
according to them.
But the difference between statistical significance and clinical significance. Okay.
Anyway.
So we had.
Well, infant.
Okay, so this year we had sex 1.1 times a week. And the year before we had sex 1.125 times a week. Guess what? It might be statistically significant. It doesn't make a damn difference of clinical significance. Okay.
I'm counting those percentage points.
No, like seriously, like some of this stuff gets so crazy, and on both sides, it's like, so the answer to these kind of problems is to ask all the questions and investigate all the questions.
Yeah, but
is it lockdowns?
The total number of kids, I mean, compared to how the birth rate, I mean, and that fluctuates every year as well. So that's the other thing. The birth rate's never the same year to year. So, that's why they have to base it per 1,000. Anyway.
No, but
we're not going to agree.
Well, no, but
let's move on.
But you get what I'm saying. Like, it's so completely nuts because the only way you solve it. So the less you talk about the fact that the vaccines may actually be dangerous, the more you power the people that are blaming the vaccine for black mold.
Right. We can talk about it, but I just get so cranky now that everything is that. Well, I think we can talk about it.
So,
for sure.
so the way you solve these problems is you discuss about every potential option, and you investigate them. And this is what always has blown my head up about all of the shit in COVID was the censorship. The reason
nobody's saying anybody got censored in this.
No, but you don't read the same articles I do. They'll never. The mainstream media. Okay. The government of Canada came out and said there are DNA plasmid contamination in the Pfizer vaccine. They found it. That is a big freaking deal. Okay. If you have a lipid nanoparticle and you have chunks of DNA in it, and some of the chunks of DNA were the what the monkey virus, the MV40 simian monkey virus MV40 contaminants, which actually are known to cause cancer. Okay. They found that.
Right.
And the Canadian CDC came out and said, well, yeah, like there's some contaminants in the Pfizer vaccine, but like it's still safe and effective. And if you get some kind of like crazy shitty complication, then you can sign up for MAID and we'll just inject you and kill you anyways. It's okay. But you get to have Cheetos and you get to drink some beer and it'll be fine. So the Canadian CDC comes out and does this. And so the FDA in the United States has to respond because it's like another like G20 country found that you have DNA contamination in your vaccine, which is really potentially bad because that means that shit's potentially encoded into your like chromosomes, right? And the FDA said, well, we haven't seen any problems. Therefore, we think it's safe and effective. Right. Because if it's monkey virus 40, you don't get fucking cancer for another 30 years, you dumbasses. They should be shitting their pants.
Well,
But no. We haven't seen any problems.
As we've seen.
You haven't seen any problems.
Oh.
Because you got to wait 30 years. So you should pull it off the market and not wait for problems. Thanks.
I don't think we need to wait 30 years. We've been seeing some crazy turtle cancers going on.
Yeah, no, it's
people with
Larry, it's 100% correct. We will never see the truth from the mainstream, and like that's exactly correct. And that's my point.
But we're already seeing aggressive stage 3, 4 cancers in people, multiple primaries, which is like unprecedented. Are you feeling better now?
No, I'm not. Oh, but now I am.
Take a sip. Take a breath.
No, but that's,
let's move on.
Like I get frustrated by both sides. That's why it's BS for MD. I get frustrated by both sides. It's like, okay, the guy that got struck by lightning was not struck by lightning because he was vaccinated, and the micro nanobots in the vaccine attracted the lightning. He was just a dipshit playing golf in the middle of a thunderstorm. That's probably more likely. But unless you're allowed to ask the questions and show the data, it only fuels the division and the insanity.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree more.
Okay. This year, we're going for 1.25, not 1.12. I'm just saying.
I don't know. Have to be nice to me. Next.
All right. Well, let's see. What's the next story? Oh, yes.
Oh, this is a favorite. All right. Okay, that's your post. Well, mine says thousands of kids are injured in golf cart accidents each year in the U.S. and in Florida. Teens can drive carts with minimal oversight, but that's about to change. I guess starting October 1st, under a new bill signed by Governor, your Lord and Savior. If you listen to our podcast, Truth Bomb, you'll get the joke. Ron DeSantis Reid stated that Florida teens won't be able to drive carts without proper ID. The new bill is affecting, communities across the state, and actually, they have to have a valid driver's license or a learner's permit, according to the state law. So, a couple of years ago, I guess these pediatricians said that they were seeing all kinds of golf cart injuries over the past 3 years. Everything like all kinds of horrible trauma. I'm thinking probably head injuries. Yeah, head injuries. Severe, 7 brain bleeds, 5 patients with fractures. Some of them fell off golf carts, while the carts flipped over. So,
okay,
as much as they say golf carts are fun and they do stupid things on Jackass with them,
okay, right?
They're not, and some of them get up to like 20 plus miles an hour.
No,
like 30.
Yes, or more.
They're driving them 25 miles an hour.
You have to understand what golf carts are in golfing communities, like where we live now, and where my sister had a lovely place in Arizona. They drive these on public roads because they go like 40 miles an hour, and part of this law governed the speed to 35 miles an hour. Okay, a golf cart is not made to go around corners fast at 35 miles an hour. Like, I go out for a run in our community, and like they're damn near drifting these golf carts because they're all souped up. They got like they almost have spinners on them. They have such fancy wheels. Like, it is completely different world of golf carts. And you could drive one with no driver's license at 14.
No. Okay.
Yes, at 14.
Stop.
At 14.
No, it's younger. So apparently that they were seeing half of more than 6,500 children, it says, injured in golf cart accidents each year are younger than 12.
Right. But legally, you could drive it at 14.
Yeah.
But of course, it's just like...
So if someone lets their 10-year-old in there and away they go.
I mean, where we live, You could drive your golf cart to the liquor store. Like, tell me we have not descended upon heaven. It's like people say, what's heaven like? And I'm like, you can drive your freaking golf cart to the liquor store. It's like, it's so close because they're like,
And not only that, they are also drinking while driving their golf cart,
yeah,
probably to the liquor store.
well, it's like, okay, so we're gonna start a business. Where should we put a liquor store? I don't know. Let's put it
beside
against
the golf
let's
course.
put it next to a golf community of 1,200 houses that's gated, where the cops can't, like the cops basically never come in unless they're called. Yeah, perfect. That's the perfect business. And I'm like, oh, I didn't, like, seriously. If you own like liquor land, right? Like you look where you look at all of the property development permits and you go, okay, right there, right there, that one.
Anyway,
yeah.
I mean, I'm just thinking those poor kids, but yeah.
Yes, but I've also driven a golf cart with our son, who is a engineer, and he's in his 20s.
Tell some nasty stories.
And he figured out how to disconnect all of the power to the golf cart and make it freewheel so that you could come over a hill. And then if it was really steep, like you could get it going like 60.
Yeah. Well, you know that someone could listen to this in perpetua because they're going to listen to this podcast.
No, I'm not telling you how to do it. I'm telling you there is a way to do it. And if you have a son that is an aerospace engineer, he may take you in a ride in a golf cart that exceeds like the speed of sound,
like his plane,
perhaps.
Just like his plane.
Yes.
Okay, so, but it makes sense. You can't stick your kid on a quad now, like, and let them just drive around. Why do you let them drive this golf cart around?
Are you looking for alternative investments and tangible assets that help you build and protect your wealth while empowering your financial future? Look no further than Eckhart Enterprises. With over 37 years of experience in the industry, Eckhart Enterprises is your trusted partner in the world of alternative investments and asset management. They have a track record of success with more than 1,300 investors on board and over $700 million in capital invested in tangible assets.
Their specialty lies in offering immediate cash flow opportunities through mineral rights investments so that you don't have to wait decades to see your investments pay off. Their unique AML approach, born from decades of experience, focuses on aggregating, maturing, and liquidating assets strategically to maximize returns. Join Eckhart Enterprises. Visit EckhartEnterprises.com, spelled ECKARD enterprises.com today to begin your journey toward building and protecting your financial future.
For more information about alternative investments and asset management, visit EckhartEnterprises.com. And remember, Eckhart Enterprises is your gateway to tangible assets and lasting financial success. Contact Eckhart today.
For more information about alternative investments and asset management, visit EckhartEnterprises.com, spelled ECKARDENTERPRISES.com. And remember, Eckhart Enterprises is your gateway to tangible assets and lasting financial success. Contact Eckhart today.
But it is curious that it is. I mean, I'm not the least bit surprised that it's Florida. But in Arizona, like maybe there should be an age limit at the top too.
Oh,
because we have been in.
Oh, not just for golf carts, but for all carts.
Yes,
like
but we have been
cars.
in like that. The one community we were in Arizona, you could drive them on. You can't drive them on a highway, but you can drive them on any public road. Like guys take their clubs and their golf cart and get their prescription blood thinners at CVS because their golf carts are plugged, are literally parked outside. And you sit there and you go, what could possibly go wrong?
I don't know.
But the state loves it because they get to license and register another vehicle. And so it's just revenue. All right, next story. Let's see here. What are we doing there? Next story. Okay, that's the golf cart story.
Oh, okay.
This is awesome.
Well, yeah, this blew your mind,
one,
didn't it?
I love this story for so many reasons.
Counterfeit Ozempic found in the U.S. retail pharmacy. Well, not just the U.S. retail pharmacy. And I think it started off back in, I read that it was in the UK, and a big article from Australia where people were showing up in emergency rooms super sick with horrible side effects as they had been given fake Ozempic. So what's been happening, because there's such a massive run to the store for Ozempic because everybody wants to lose weight, there's knockoffs popping up now all across the world because, crooks and thieves will figure out a way to make some money. So there's this surge of this. And so now it's in the US. FDA investigators found that these fraudsters that are selling this stuff are passing themselves off as employees of medical wholesalers. And they effectively, take over accounts of actually legitimate companies that sell Ozempic. And then the supply chains just totally getting tainted. And so they target unsuspecting pharmacies then, looking for discounts on drugs, like small town mom and pop things that can get a deal instead of going to the big PBMs. And because there's also a short supply and it's hard to get, then they're like, oh, this is perfect because the demand is going up. So what happens is
So I just have to, I'm sorry, I just have to interject.
So the people.
So we had, okay. So we have this massive drug trade in illegal drugs, right? And so it got to the point where the simplest way to import opiates was to make the world's most powerful opiate, which is carfentanil, and then cut it and pretend it's heroin, and then people die. And because it's fentanyl, because there's a huge demand, because if you can become a heroin addict and then you stop using heroin, you have terrible withdrawal, and on and on and on. But now we have an illegal drug trade
Semaglutide
for a fat person drug.
Yeah,
Like that is like, if you want to talk about,
they want to keep you fat.
The pinnacle
They don't want you dead.
of
They want you
first
fat.
world problems. We have so many people that want to lose weight, and I feel for you. I understand that this is complex, et cetera, but just see the irony and the comedy from 30,000 feet. So many people want a patented drug to lose weight that people are selling illegal crap, and
That's like
some
this
of it.
T-shirt, isn't that a fake one?
No,
I'm
this is a
kidding.
real one.
I'm kidding.
I don't buy.
It's the same
fake.
as concert T-shirts. The guys stand outside
yeah,
because
right.
everybody's got
Yeah.
it, and then you get your shitty concert T-shirt.
Well, like my buddy, he got his Iron Maiden shirt for $10 instead of 40, and it was like,
sideways,
tilted.
and it becomes like
Right.
a booby shirt.
And then it's made in China, and then it's Iron Maiden. It is.
Yeah.
And so they spell it Iron Maiden. And so, anyways, so the fake Ozempic is insulin.
No,
Some
wait,
of it is
stop.
insulin.
How did you know that?
Because I read it right here in the
exactly.
article.
Well, let me finish. So some of the victims, they get this counterfeit Ozempic pens or versions diverted from other countries, all the way from this is happening from Nigeria to Australia and more.
I am a Nigerian prince, and you are kind of tubby, and I shall give you $10 million and as much Ozempic as you can take. Not just
Ozempic, it's also Wegovy too. So,
well, Wegovy is the same drug.
What happens is people, you get it filled, and then they're using this stuff, and they're having, you're right, insulin, usually insulin glargine, isn't it?
Yeah, long-acting insulin. What could possibly happen if you took too much insulin? Oh, that's right. Your blood sugar will go to like 20. You'll seize and die.
Yep.
Just like Kitty Von Bulow did to her lovely, unbelievably rich and elderly husband, Klaus.
Correct.
If you don't know that story, look it up. It is amazing.
So, yeah.
That's why I don't piss May off, because I'm like, I'm going to feel a prick in my toe, and then I'm going to be dead. Middle of the night, I'm going to wake up and go, was that a mosquito? And then I'll just.
I don't think it'll be the toe. I think it would be somewhere that hurts a little more than the toe.
And is far, far more vascular.
Because, LB is kind of my hero. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah, now we're
nobody knows who that
losing people.
LB. Well, if you don't
Lorena Bobbitt, I understand. Okay.
So anyway, horrible side effects because it's as an hypoglycemic event, and so now I guess instead of a drug testing kit, you're gonna have to get a
No, Ozempic testing.
Ozempic testing.
Well,
okay.
we've done all of your Ozempic tests, and unfortunately, the Ozempic that you're taking is a counterfeit. But we've done other tests, and yes, you're still fat.
That's terrible. All right. You're
It's just like honestly, like seriously, I think Elon Musk is correct. We are living in a simulation.
it seems
Look
that
at-
way.
I look at myself here, and I look at you, and I'm like, I'm looking like Trump compared to you.
Well, I could show them the picture of you and our friend that came down here
No,
lying like
yeah.
Greek gods on the side of the pool, but he looked like Trump compared to you because his tan is such that.
Well, I need to add us back. Okay, what are we drinking?
I'm drinking a beautiful Moscow Mule.
Made with
I'm gonna sneeze.
a
bit. I
sadly
think I might be allergic to it.
empty
No.
bottle of Mermaid vodka.
How did that happen?
But because we have a liquor store that you can drive a golf cart to, I found out with extensive research that they make more. They continue to make
Because he
it.
didn't show you the other bottle.
They make a big one as well, and it's almost as empty.
I think
This is the Little Mermaid. The other one is, as the kids would say, the Thick Mermaid, spelled with a Q.
that would be the Grande Mermaid, venti sized. Anyway,
Yeah, Venti is bigger than Grande, isn't it?
yeah, and I think there's one bigger than venti. But if I went to Starbucks more, maybe I'd actually.
Do you know what the smallest size in Starbucks is?
It would be a mochaccino. I don't know.
It's called a small. It's not on the list, but you can say I want a small whatever, and they have a special.
I thought it was the that was the puppuccino. That's the smallest. It's in a Dixie cup,
Well,
right?
the
everybody?
puppuccino
It's a
is amazing
puppuccino.
because it's just foam you give your dog.
No, it's not.
Which
Have you
could-
gotten a puppuccino? It's whipped cream. I know
Wow.
because I got one for my sister's dog Finn and got half of it on me as he consumed the cup. Puppuccino
Oh.
is whipped cream. Yes.
Giving whipped cream to a dog, what could possibly go wrong?
Mhm.
All right, next story. So May doesn't know what I'm going to talk about, but it is actually quite interesting. It is this guy named Clarence Daly, and it's fast. This is actually an interesting story. This is back in the mid to late 1800s, right before the turn of the last century, and Edison was experimenting with X-rays, and he got out of the X-ray business, and he let Röntgen, who was the guy that actually brought X-rays to hospitals, kind of take it because his buddy, his assistant, insisted that they crank up the X-ray machine to 11 to figure out how it worked. And he kept X-raying his hands and putting his hands in the X-rays as they would do this. And then he unfortunately ended up with hands that look like this. So he got all this radiation burns, all of these cancers. They took off one of his arms. They took off his second arm. And eventually he had basically fungating
got radiation to his hands,
poisoning,
or what happens
cancer.
if you go out in the sun too much.
Yes.
And that's why Dolly Parton wears gloves.
Is that right?
I don't know.
Well, she wears more than gloves. Anyway, so yes, it was fascinating. So this guy, Clarence Daly, was a very loyal employee of one Thomas Alva Edison. And Edison got out of the X-ray research business because their X-rays killed his buddy. And then you know what happened? The FDA came in and said they were safe and effective. No, there was no FDA then. I just made
said dial it down a bit.
I just made that part up.
They said dial it down.
But you think of seriously though, let's talk a little bit about safe and effective.
Me. I'm sneezing here.
It's fascinating how my brother was born in 1952. So do the math. And he remembers. So this would have been in the late 50s, going to a shoe store, putting on a pair of shoes and walking up to a fluoroscope and putting his feet in the fluoroscope so that you could see how the shoes fit through the fluoroscope. Now, fluoroscopy is continuous X-rays. It is I mean, other than a CT scanner, and depending on the fluoro you're doing, it may even be the same or more. It is a truckload of radiation because it's continuous radiation, not a snapshot, not a flashbulb of radiation. And you sit there and you go, there's all these 70-year-old men now that got their nards absolutely blasted with the Florsheim shoe x-ray machine. And somehow they turned out okay because
Yeah, but their feet don't look like
they
that.
got
guys.
like 2 vaccines. Oh, I just made that part up.
Said their feet don't look like that. Picture,
No, they
Drew.
don't. No, but like he's told me stories. He's like, yeah, I shoved my feet in the machine. And it's like a fluoroscope. Like, holy crap. That's almost as good as the x-ray glasses you could buy at the back of the comic books.
Yeah, well, we're probably going to find out that those stupid things that people wear to stare at the solar eclipse do the same thing too.
No, they don't. We know that because we know about things called eyes. The solar eclipse glasses were pretty cool. Though.
Yeah, very
I must
cool.
admit that was one of the trippiest things I've ever experienced in my entire life. That was 2017. What, August 2nd or something? 2017.
How do you remember that?
Well, because I'm a genius.
No, it's that
You should know that by now.
savant part of this brain here.
These wrinkles aren't actual skin wrinkles. They're extra
Anyway,
folds
if you haven't all,
of cerebrum.
if you've known Tim long enough, he has this weird thing for dates. He remembers exact dates and what happened on them. So puts me in the doghouse because I can't remember our anniversary.
Can't remember our anniversary.
I'm the man in the relationship. Yep, that's me.
So, anyways,
Someone's got to be.
no, it's good. It's well, okay. Why do I remember it? Because I'd go to meetings at the hospital and they lost their ever-loving shit over like the 19 billion zillion people driving to Oregon to see the eclipse. And we might have a trauma situation when, and it's just,
And so you remember
it's like
that
these
day.
guys live,
Fascinating.
these guys live for catastrophes. Seriously. It's like, remember Ebola? Remember that?
Oh,
Okay,
yes.
the dumbest disease in the history of diseases. People would come to our urgent care in the middle of nowhere, and the hospital mandated that they ask them if they'd ever traveled to Africa. And it's like, they haven't been to the county next to us.
But
They probably haven't been to Africa.
so let's tell the story. We had to ask all these questions and screen them. And then if someone had been, we had to put all the PPE. Now I'm talking hazmat, top to bottom, headgear, body wear, foot gear, masks, double gloves. I mean, we look like we were ready for takeoff, astronauts. And what happened on my shift, because this was all happening in the spring, I remember it, February and March. Lo and behold, along comes, the end of March after spring break, and it's time for sports physicals again because people are doing track. And this kid came in for a sports physical and got the questions asked, and he had been to Africa on a mission trip over spring break, and he just happened to have a fever and wasn't feeling good. And it turned into a total crap show because then it was like, well, what do we do? And then everybody's like, put the stuff on. We got a call.
There was
a number to call that we were supposed to call. And ironically enough, no one answered the number. They just said,
well, it was
we'll call
after
you tomorrow.
5.
We'll
It's
call
after
you.
5. No, so
Leave a
like you want to
message,
talk
we'll
about
call you
how
tomorrow.
completely insane corporate medicine is.
We had to treat
Okay.
that kid like he had Ebola. No, I'm kidding.
Correct. So there was like 5 people, I think, in totality in the United States that had Ebola. 5. Okay. How you get it is blood and body fluid exposure. So basically, if you were a doctor or a nurse caring for somebody who has Ebola, and it's a hemorrhagic disease. So literally blood shoots out of your eyes. Okay. Like every hole you have in your body is oozing
bleeding.
blood. Okay. You come in exposure to that, then you get Ebola. It's not aerosolized. It's not respiratory. You can't cough it and spread it. And if you got it, yes, it was super dangerous. So a kid comes in with a fever that happened to be on a mission trip to Africa in the middle of BFE, Oregon. And, it could be, no, it's, guess what? It's not Ebola.
It got
Okay, it's
kinda
not.
silly
It's
and
never going to be.
people got crazy. I'm like, just forget
No,
it.
because
Stick him in a
people
room. He's
in an ivory tower pleasure themselves to the idea of solving a crisis.
but
That's what
I
happens.
just love to watch everybody get
I'm
all
peeling-
worked up.
Peeling back the Band-Aid. Literally, it's
No.
just like, what the like, are you freaking kidding
It
me?
was funny, but we did have it. I remember our nurse manager that was on was actually very reasonable, sensible, and she just like, really, let's just see him, treat him for his.
Let's just
cold.
pretend.
And I'm like, you got it.
Let's just pretend
I don't
instead
think
of
he's got Ebola.
let's just pretend instead of him being to Africa, his parents were into yacht rock and he had listened to Africa by Toto on repeat.
That
for
would
the last
cause my eyes to bleed
Ding,
in an
ding,
instant
ding, ding, ding.
because it does already.
I got the Ebola down in Africa.
Oh, you were just on The Masked Singer. I think I saw you
Gonna
in the
take-
costume.
Gonna take some monoclonal antibody.
I think I just saw you. I watched.
That's right. I could be on the
Hey,
Masked Singer.
I love.
You know what?
I'm a self.
They'll never guess it's me.
Self confession. I love The Masked Singer. We have been trying to catch up, so we've been watching episodes, and you know, I think you should be on there in a furry suit.
No, I love Larry
You
F's
could
comment.
dress up as Fauci.
Job security for the what ifs. Exactly. And eventually they'll have us wearing steel diapers for what if a monkey climbs out of your ass. I'm like, okay, just get it on video. No, but it was just completely and the thing is, like, you would sit there doing these, they had drills. And they had upper level management and nurse managers and physician managers doing the drill. And I would look over that the guy that I knew over 20 years, who was the physician manager, and he's rolling his eyes. And I'm like, you know what? Don't roll your eyes. Pound your fist and say, this is the stupidest, dumbest this is idiotic. And then people go, how do we get all the lockdowns and COVID? Because no one said, like, freaked out at the last 9 nothing pandemics.
What we needed drills for was all the people that would come in with bed bugs.
Yeah.
That was horrible.
Or we
We had
needed
to
a
literally
drill
lock down then.
for the guy that hadn't taken a bath in like 17 years. Like, when was the last time he took a bath? Well, I think Jimmy Carter was president. Okay, well, that's a problem. We need a drill for that. We don't need a drill for the like Mormon kid that went to Africa for 25 minutes to do a mission during spring break.
Well, welcome to corporate medicine. You're welcome.
Dung, dung, dung,
All right.
dung, dung, dung.
Got any good stories for us?
No, I'm done.
Well,
I'm all storied out.
then I'm going to share. If you have not signed up for the Truth Serum newsletter,
Dung, dung, dung,
you're
dung,
missing
dung,
out on
dung.
some stellar, I don't know, I was going to say Shakespearean, not quite like writing, but we put some, at least I usually try to put some updates in there, what's been going on, some extra fun photos that we don't post all on the social media sites of what we've been up to. We got to go to Tampa hockey game. I did post that and had a great time. But check out the newsletter, Truth Serum. Sign up on our website and please subscribe. You don't have to be a paid subscriber. It will just come to your mailbox. And we love hearing from you.
You don't have to be a paid subscriber because we don't have them.
That's what I said. You don't have to be a paid subscriber.
Because we don't have them.
No. Well, some people do.
We should have them.
It's a free newsletter.
And it's very good.
And you can write back to us.
Because
We
May
usually
does
get
most
back.
of the writing.
Thank you.
You can tell when I write because it's done in crayon.
No, that's not. Well, it starts off in crayon and then it just needs polishing. We also had a truth bomb. Now, I'm going to say we had some comments. It was great on our post about our last week's truth bomb because it was called Saviors. And a couple of you posted that.
And we appreciate that.
That you called Tim out. And he said, did you listen to the podcast? I don't know if they did, but today we did a follow-up to that to clarify exactly what he was talking about. And that's part 2. Tomorrow's podcast is coming out Thursday with our guests. And we were going to have a surprise guest tonight.
Well, we still
to
will.
mix it up.
We will have a very good surprise
But
guest.
Desiree can correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe that it's a reunited podcast with Dr. Jeep and Vanessa Nam, who've been on the show before, where we're talking about marriage, relationships, what makes them successful.
It's marriage.
As love and marriage, like a baby carriage, as all four of us have survived
1.25 times a week.
Oh my. Well, that's the key to success, apparently. And I'll leave it at that.
Right.
Anything
You
else
know,
you wanna
because
add?
you've heard that. You've heard that. Men only have two emotions, hungry and horny. If I don't have a boner, make me a sandwich. And we've tried to end on a positive note, and we have entirely succeeded.
I'm just leaving it at that. All right, everybody. There's no more comments, no more questions, and I'm just going to ask people for a vote. If we have to change the podcast to an earlier time so that I can go to bed.
Because May is not used. She's used to East Coast time now.
Now, if you read the newsletter a couple weeks ago, you know that I'm now rising and setting with the sun. And the sun sets very early. So my biorhythms have changed, and I'm feeling my age, and the sun's down, I'm down. So we are throwing around an idea of changing it up maybe in the new year or sooner. Also, Tim's missing all the fun at the compound here in the community because all their events are Wednesday night, and he's going to miss trivia night, and he's missed
where I shall dominate
couples yoga night, and he's missed.
I suck at golfing, but bring out the trivia, and heads are going to roll, to quote Judas Priest.
Yeah. So anyway, we appreciate everybody for being here. Send us your comments and questions. And for now, have a good night. We'll see you all next time.
Make me a sandwich!
Now, a final word from our sponsor. At Pearson Ravitz, they understand that life can change in an instant. It's hard to imagine that a sudden illness, injury, or catastrophic event could put you and your family in a devastating financial situation. Physician-founded and physician-focused, Pearson Ravitz builds human connections before they create quotes. Visit www.pearsonravitz.com today and embark on a journey of safeguarding your future. It's no secret that medicine is a bit uptight. That's why Tim and I created BS Free MD, to mix things up a little and have fun in the process. Besides, we are having these exact same discussions all the time, so we thought we might as well invite everyone to the party. If you really like us, you can get plenty more and maybe see one of Tim's cool tattoos on our Instagram or Facebook pages at BS Free MD. See you next time.
While we try to keep BS Free MD as raw and real as possible, we can't be held responsible for any medical decisions or discussions had as a result of what you've heard on the show. We know, bummer. But the truth is, we really do care about your questions. So feel free to reach out to us by email at doc@bsfreemd.com.